Alright, this will be a little demo on how to create fire. So I'll start by making my brush yellow. I'm going to adjust my stage size as well. Don't really need to, but I just figured why not. Alright, so here's my stage, and I'm just going to make it a slightly darker color because I'm using a bright color. Alright, so to keep in mind, what you want to do is we're just going to try to create a looping fire animation. So the basic shape you want to keep in mind when doing this is, your basic standard candle flame. And now that we've got that, call this reference. You just want to keep this shape in mind while creating the actual fire itself. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to have these constant flames sort of building up the flame until they sort of peak at this point, and then we have a new one that comes up here, and we're going to have it loop and animate. I'll show you a really cheesy, generic, terrible way to do it, but basically I'll also show you the correct way to do it. So how we go about this is we'll start. Oh, don't like that color. Okay, so we'll start here, and we're simply going to draw around the flame. Okay, we're going to draw around the flame, and make sure you put your reference on a separate layer. And this is just going to be keyframed animation, hand drawn, frame by frame. And we're going to just sort of, while keeping that shape in mind, we're going to create our little excess flames off the side. We'll go ahead and hit F7 and turn on onion skinning. And now we're going to just start working these flames up to that peak. So from here, we'll just start going ahead and hit F7 and just continue the same process all the way up. I'll start a little guy right there. It's always a good idea to play it back. So far I've got something that's like that. Okay, F7. And it's always a good idea to check your frames back and forth. Alright, so I'm just going to keep going with it. We'll see how it turns out. And then also, I have mine all going sort of this way on this curve here, this sort of line of action. What we want to do is, if you want to have it flicker and sort of bounce around, just go ahead and animate that in there while you're doing your frame by frame. And that's something you're going to need to go back and check on to make sure that it's looking right, but fire can flicker like that depending on the wind and whatnot. So it's just an idea. Alright, so I'm going to continue working my way up. F7 and F7. And notice how I just continue to sort of follow that shape of my original reference the best I can. And it doesn't need to be perfectly around it, but it's just to sort of try and keep that same shape because it resembles fire. Now, if you were to do a candle fire, you might just have this animating, whereas we're just doing sort of like a flame. And let's play it back and see where we're at. Not too bad. Take another look at it. Make this a guide layer. Command return. It's getting there. Could use probably some in between somewhere. Turn onion skin off here. Alright, I'm just going to keep going with it. Turn onion skin back on. Turn on my reference. Okay. And turn on the flame. Okay. So, continuing. I'll start a new one right here. So, we're at the point where we probably want to start to loop it back to the beginning. Now, there's two ways to do this. The really, really bad way, I'll show you. Duplicate. I'm going to hide this layer for now. Okay, so I called this bad loop example this layer. What you can do is you can copy these layers, copy these frames, I mean. Paste frames, and then from here, go to reverse frames. I set this as a guide for now, so you only see this when I hit this playback on the Swift. And you see how it goes forward and then backwards? It loops, but it doesn't look right because fire is a continuous moving up shape, but you'll see it does technically loop. But it is an absolute terrible way to do it. And that goes for any type of looping animation generally. You want to have it loop seamlessly. This way, if you do it this way, you're going to see it start over. You're going to see where it starts to play backwards. It's going to look really bad. So that's a bad way to do it. Now, the good way to do it is as follows. Take your first frame, copy it, just the first one, and then just go out here and hit paste frame. Now, in between these, I'm going to take my bracket on the onion skin and I'm going to make it go to this one for now, just to see. So I need it to come back around my flame to match this seamlessly while animating. And to do that, I'm going to, and take as many frames as you need to do it, right? I'm going to do a couple more frames. And you'll see that I actually have it starting to already work its way into that shape. I'm going to erase really quickly. Okay, I just got confused for a second on where my original that I need to keep animating up towards versus the one that I need to start animating to. Okay. So the light one, this flame here, will become this one. To get it to be right, it's almost there. So this one's going to have to become this one. This one will have to become this one. This one will be this one, and so on. So let's go get to it. And this is just my first pass, so I'm not too concerned about it looking perfect, but edit, redo. Okay. I have 7. I have 7. And I'm starting to get there right now. I'm almost there. I'd say this could be my last frame. I think it will be. I could even maybe stop it at this point, but one more just in case. Probably could stop it at that point. Alright, so now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these frames and just remove them. And I don't even need the last one anymore because that's the first frame. And now I'm going to play it back. Oh, I'm going to turn the guide back off. Now play it. It's got a little pause in there, and I think it's because I may have drawn in one too many frames. It's alright, it's not bad, it's not terrible. This side's working pretty well. This side's a little fast, but I think it's just too many flames. It could probably use a second pass, but as far as a loop and right here, I don't think it's too bad. So first pass, pretty good. Now, the next thing we should do is we could add color to it, which is what we're going to do, and I'll show you how to add a glow and make it symbol, looping animation, make it glow, make it look like fire, make it look cool. So I'm going to go ahead and start to fill this in. I'm going to turn off my onion skin now. Oop, it is off. Okay. Just going through each frame. Okay. So now that I've got that, let's play it back. We get this flame. A little flickering isn't really all that bad of a thing, because it is fire. So that's the first pass on just the generic flame. Now the other thing we can do is, I'm going to put it on a separate layer. And what I like to do is I like to add my color here, and I'm just going to go with a red. You know, your standard basic generic sort of flame. Oh, and I'm going to lock this layer now. Okay. And it's probably a good idea to turn on onion skin on here, so might want to do that. Okay. And I'm just going through, obviously, again, one more time, to create the inner generic standard fire red flame. And just keep working through your previous animation and the new one with the red. Sort of reference both, and it doesn't need to be perfect because fire sort of twitches out anyway. Okay. And just keep working your way through. Yeah. Just didn't like those two. I don't know why. Just didn't feel right. So it's getting a little too close to the edge in that area is what I think. I'm right here. Okay. Okay. And that's it. Alright, now let's fill it in. Turn off onion skin. Okay, this one's off. Alright. Wonderful. So go ahead and fix that. Let's see. So now we get something that looks like that. Alright. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy both these layers. So I'm going to click, shift click the next layer, right click, copy layers. I'm going to go over here into my library and create fire loop. You know what, there's more of a flame, so a flame loop. Alright. And then here we're just going to paste our layers. Alright, so now back here, just so I have the original, I'm just going to take these and put them in this folder just to make it a little bit easier for me to navigate my timeline. So the one thing I want to do is, I should have done this when I converted it to a symbol, But right click on your flame loop and go to properties and make sure it's a movie clip. Movie clips work in a weird way, so I'll show you in a second what I mean. So when I play this back on the timeline, you'll notice only the one on the left animates, but if I were to export, you'll see both of them play. So it's weird, but it has to do with movie clips kind of have their own timeline, which is why they don't play on the stage, and they'll only play inside of the symbol, but not on the main stage and only when exported. So just remember the movie clips will only play correctly on the main stage if they're exported. That's the long story short there. So now that I've got it here, I'm going to go into my properties and I'm going to start to add some properties to it. So some filters. I'm going to add a glow to it. And now I'm going to have to zoom in, but you can start to see this really subtle glow here. I don't know what color. Let's see what color seems to work. What about an orange maybe? And I'm going to bring the strength up, and I'm going to bring the blur effect up. And you'll see it starts to get this glow. And maybe I should just go with yellow. I don't know. Too bright. No. Probably with the orange. So now you'll get this glowing effect around it. Another thing you can do that makes it look pretty cool is adding a blur as another filter. So bring up the blur. That's a little bit too much. Let's make it a high quality. And not much, but and then you get something like that. You could even essentially just get the blur on the inside of this. So I'll go ahead and here you go. I'm looking for the little trash. So down here, if I were to take fire red, copy layers, new symbol, make sure it's a movie clip. And this is just nesting symbols again. Paste layer, and you'll see it's right there. I'll go back into here. I'm going to hide this layer for the time being. Delete this layer. Create a new one. And then I'll call this flame, or red flame. And I'll take that, drag it, drop it down here. And I hope this will play right because timeline or movie clips do work in a strange way. But let's see if I add the blur first. And here, doesn't look right really. So I'm just gonna scratch that. But adding a blur to it can add a lot. But as you can see, you get the glow. Let's make it a darker stage color. Let's try the blur one more time. Oh, you can do gradient glows too. And bring it down slightly. And it looks actually a little bit better. So you get it to look more like an actual flame. So, and depending on how you want the flame to look, obviously, if you're just going for, I'm just going to hide that one for the time being. I mean, you can have just a yellow flame, you can have the red and the yellow, so either way, that's about all there is to going through and creating a looping fire animation in Flash. And to get that cool little glow on it, it adds a nice little neat effect. I guess while I'm at it, I'll do one more thing. I intended to do this earlier, I just got caught up in the symbols. So I'll go ahead and I've got my fire loop animation. Okay, I'll just hide this layer and create it as a guide for now. One last thing that fire does that's pretty cool is it shoots off little sparks. So, you know what? I'll just do it inside the symbol for now. So, in here, I'm just going to turn on my onion skin. And here, I'm going to create sparks using yellow and change my stage color to a lighter color. Okay, so now with the sparks, I mean, really all you're doing is sort of creating little sparks flying off of it. So let's just get to it. It'll sort of, they'll basically just fade out. And okay. Alright, so I don't know, something like that we'll just start with, and then I'm just going to go through and I'll take my first one here, copy frame, go to my last frame, paste frame, drag this out, and have this only show my last frame. Okay, hopefully, yeah. The very last frame and the frame just before it. Okay, so I'm just going to go through. And I have my very last frame here just to try to keep me on track on where I need to be as I continue going through. Make it loop cleanly. Okay. Okay, and I'm just going through. And now I'll start to try to get this to cleanly loop. Okay. I need to have some flying off the sides. And you just keep doing it until it looks right. Here. Alright, so you get a little flicker off the top of the flame. I may have added a few too many, so I probably want to go through and erase a couple of them, but other than that, I mean, you get the point. Just to get that. Anyway, play it back, you get the little flickering off. Mine just shoots too straight forward up. I should have brought a few more out here, but and maybe not as many, but I mean, the idea is there. I figured I'd go through and do it, and the next thing you would do is just add smoke. This needs a second pass. Most animation does. Second, third, fourth. So anyway, where we're at with the flame loop is we've got the let's go black. We get that little trickling effect on the flame. And let me hide this one for the time being. And we've got the little flame going. It's a little choppy on the playback, but that would just need some finessing right around the end of the animation. So here's my fire loop movie clip and symbol, and here's the original flame that I did. And it turns out pretty decent, but it could use a little finessing. And that's really all there is to creating the a fire animation. But yeah, hope you enjoyed watching.